I kao što sam već rekla, u završnici današnjeg dana slušamo o tome kako je dugoročni uspeh organizacije zapravo u uspešnom upravljanju njenim zaposlenima, ljudskim resursima i aktiviranju njihovih potencijala. Ljudi sa kojima radimo su najvažniji ključ našeg uspeha, kao i mogući uzrok neuspeha. Sa ovim se u potpunosti slaže André Rinnensland, generalni direktor kompanije Metro Cash Carry u Srbiji, danas ovde sa nama u studiju. André, welcome to FMCG Retail Summit.
Hvala mnogo. Dobar dan svima. Nadam se da ste dobro i da ste zdravi. Ja sam André Rinnensland, generalni direktor Metro Cash Carry Srbija. Više volim da kažem da sam na čelu snajnog tima 1200 dobrih ljudi i snajnih radnika u Srbiji. Metro je moja druga kuća već deceniju. U Srbiju sam stigao iz Njemačke pre 2 godine. Radio sam u mnogim zemljama u kojima sam se uvek trudio da naučim jezik, ali učenje jezika zahteva još vremena i zato ću sada preći na engleski. Hvala. So it's all about people. I'm going to talk a little bit about people. First of all, maybe let me quickly introduce myself. My name is André Rinnensland. I'm currently holding the position of CEO of Metro Cash Carry Srbija. I've been working for Metro for 10 years, and I've been working in the retail wholesale industry for more than 20 years, starting off as a buyer in another German retail organization, which is also present here in this summit now and also present in Serbia. And yes, most of my time I spent in retail wholesale organizations of different formats. I spent many years living and working abroad, for example, in Czech Republic, Portugal, going back to Germany. And then when I joined Metro 10 years ago, I took over the position of buying director in our organization in Turkey, where I spent a couple of years. After that, I moved to Italy and took over a more operational role as operations director for the Metro Dolomiti business, doing business in the northern part of Italy. And then I went back to Germany and I joined the corporate headquarters of Metro in Düsseldorf. And I completely changed my function and I went basically out of an operational business function and joined the HR function. Although I would like to point out that I don't have any kind of HR background, but still I made this lateral move, which I don't regret until today. I spent 3 years in Germany, and then I was very happy that once again I was offered to return to the business, to get closer to the business, to get my hands on again, and this is when I took over the position of CEO here in Serbia, more or less 2 years ago. Let me quickly share a few words about Metro as such. Metro is a German company. We were founded 55 years ago, and we are a company that is focused on wholesale. So what we do is we cater to professional customers, independent businesses, mainly from 3 different industries, from the HoReCa or hospitality industry. We also take care and cater to the so-called trader industry. And then we have the function of SCOs, which are smaller companies, offices, and these kind of businesses that are also one of our core target groups. So it's a very diverse picture that we have. And it also takes a lot of effort to get all these customers basically under one roof. In total, worldwide, we employ about 100,000 people. We're doing business in around 34 countries. And as I pointed out, we consider ourselves as the solution and service provider to professional customers. Here in Serbia, you've been around for 15 years. Actually, we are currently celebrating our 15th anniversary here in Serbia. Unfortunately, not so much to celebrate right now under the given circumstances, which is very unfortunate because we were planning actually to have a big party with all our employees, but due to the obvious reasons, this did not happen this year. Hopefully, we can celebrate our anniversary next year. As mentioned before, we employ around 1,200 people. We have 9 different stores in 6 different cities here in Serbia, and more or less 25,000 different articles, both non-food and food articles, in our assortment. One of our big expertise is our so-called own brands or private labels that you can see here on the chart as well, which are targeted at our professional customers. If you look at these brands, so you would see the Metro Professional, the Metro Chef, and the Metro Premium brands, which are our own brands that cater more to the HoReCa and the hospitality industry. Then in the middle, you see our brands, which are called Aro, Rioba, and Fine Life. So these are basically own brands that are suitable for resale. So we would sell them to our trader customers, but nevertheless, they also obviously are available for all other customer groups as well. And then the whole range is obviously also available to our SCO customers. So we consider ourselves as a wholesale player on the market, and we also consider ourselves as a connecting element on the market. And this is where our people come into the game, because we believe the people play a very, very crucial role in this whole equation. Since we serve very diverse customer groups, it's obviously extremely important to understand those customer groups, to understand the needs of these customer groups, and then to translate these needs into solutions, into products, into services for these customer groups. That's why we consider ourselves, yes, a connecting, a binding element between our customers and our suppliers, because deriving from what we take up and pick up from our customers, then we would go back to our suppliers and translate this into professional solutions for our professional customers. So very often what we need to do in order to listen and to understand our customers is to put ourselves in their shoes, to understand their pains, to understand their gains, to understand what is it that we could contribute in order to make their business and their life easier, and how can we also contribute to them being more successful. So this obviously demands quite a lot of knowledge, expertise, skills from our people, because if they want to really understand what our customers need and then translate this and refer this back to our customers, they have to have a very, very deep understanding and knowledge, and also passion for this business, the passion to reach out to people, the passion to connect with people, and last but not least, to have a lot of empathy, to really, really put yourself in the shoes of the customers. So what is it that we as Metro do to empower our people? And what is it that we do at Metro that, how do we support people in their development and in delivering on the promises we as a company make? So one thing that I would like to point out at the beginning is that I think one binding element for Metro on a worldwide level is that our company culture is global. We say that our strategy is local. The strategy needs to be implemented on the local base, but the company culture is a binding element, and that is the same, and it doesn't matter if you work in Japan, if you work in Pakistan, if you work in France, or if you work in Serbia. And I think this is an element that we can be proud of in Metro, and it's certainly an element that I'm particularly proud of, because if I look back at my personal journey in Metro, when I started working in Metro 10 years ago, I would have to admit that I had a little bit of a clash with the values that are important to me and the values that Metro represented back in the days. At the same time, now looking back at these 10 years, I think it's incredible to see how obviously people can change. I for sure have changed, I have matured, but it's also amazing to see how companies, how organizations can change. And now comparing Metro 10 years ago to the Metro that I work in right now is a very, very different company. And now I also have to say that my values coincide much more with Metro's values, and I identify much more with this company than maybe at the beginning. The other element that makes me extremely proud that by having the opportunity of changing positions, of like experiencing different cultures, different functions, and then last but not least also joining the HR function in our corporate headquarters, I actually could play an active role in driving this cultural transformation that is an ongoing journey, and it will never finish because also people change, people demands, people's needs will change. But it was really, really a big pleasure for me, and it still is, to contribute to this cultural change. And when I used to work in Düsseldorf, I basically had a very diverse role within our HR function. One role was that I was the director of the so-called House of Learning, which we consider our in-house academy, where we would basically, we would define and develop trainings based on the needs of our employees in order for them to perform better, to deliver the promises to our customers. And this House of Learning is an in-house institution which is very, very much focused on building up technical skills, on building up expertise. On the other hand, I was very, very lucky to be part of a huge leadership journey that we kicked off 5 years ago, where basically we ran a cultural transformation wave through different kind of like leadership workshops throughout the whole organization. And I was in the very, very lucky and thankful position to be part of the facilitator team who were then running these leadership trainings. We were running them with international groups of people from different kind of cultural backgrounds, different kind of nations, bringing them together. This was still back in the good old times before COVID, where you can actually physically bring people together. And we would then take them on this leadership journey. And there is one element that really resonated a lot with me back in the days, and which is also one of the elements that I then carried forward with me, and one of the elements that I'm also trying to deploy and apply right now in my current job, which is a so-called leadership approach by a man called Georg Kohlrieser, which is called the Dare to Care approach or the secure-based leadership approach. For me, it's a very simple approach, but I think it's so logical and so reasonable that you will only enable people to perform and to actually speak up, to be creative, to engage themselves, to contribute to the overall success of a company if people feel safe, if people have a secure base. And it all starts with us being leaders, with us being at the top, because everybody in the organizations always looks at the way the leaders, the management team, role models behavior. And for me, there is a few elements that are very, very important. And you see them also like there on the slide. It's very much about polite communication. It's very much about respect. It's about transparency. You don't have a hidden agenda. You are straightforward. You point out the facts, and you are honest. You're yourself. You're transparent. And one element for sure is also empathy, to put yourself in the shoes of your customers, to put yourself in the shoes of your employees. And one element in this whole equation that I find extremely helpful is the power of listening. Because only by listening, you can show true empathy to your employees, you can show true respect, and you can also really, really put yourself in the shoes of your people, and then also like come together and work as a team. And for me, these are important core values that all bind us together. And I think another element that I really appreciate about Metro is It gives you a lot of opportunities. It does not, once you're on one track, you're not stuck to this track. So I think I'm a pretty good example of like working in the business, working in operations, working in buying, and then without any kind of HR background, I could join the HR function, and then I could go back to the business. And we see quite a few of these cross-lateral moves, and actually we've seen some of these moves also even here in Serbia, where somebody from the store organization joined the headquarter in supply chain. Or the other way around, somebody from the controlling team then decided that I really want to gain some store experience and I want to take over and lead a store as a store manager. And I think that's fantastic that Metro opens up these doors to people. You're not stuck on one track, and you can really explore different kind of opportunities, which is something I really appreciate, that Metro offers these kind of opportunities. Another thing is that I think is the key to success is cross-functional work, in the sense of not one person alone has all the knowledge. I don't have it as the CEO. I have to work together with the team, because only if we put all our expertise, all our knowledge, every observations, everything we know, also if we put our diversity and our different cultural backgrounds together, only then I think we can work for the bigger, greater picture and contribute to the overall success of the company. If a person believes, I will be a solo player and I will be able to deliver and perform and be successful in an organization of 1,200 people and in a people business, it will not work. This is bound for failure. So that's why, for me, it is really, really important to bring people together, to make sure they have all the resources and elements at hand that enable them to deliver and to work on their targets and to contribute to the overall success of our company, but obviously, first and foremost, to the overall success of our customers. So there's a lot of reasons to be satisfied. Me personally, I'm incredibly proud and incredibly happy to be here in Serbia, to be part of the Serbian team, because I have to say Metro in Serbia truly is the kuća dobrih ljudi I vretnih radnika. Mi smo porodica koja je složna, svi želimo da budemo uspešniji I to naši kupci vidi. Hvala vam.
Andre, thank you so much. First of all, I want to applaud you for your Serbian-speaking skills. It's really impressive. And thank you for such a powerful message. And it's very nice to put that as a note to end day one of our summit, because people are really at the core of every business, and all stories about the leadership and their empowerment are really, really important. And now, if you don't mind, I would like to ask you two questions related to your business. We see how COVID influences HoReCa sector, and they're main customers of Metro. So did you register some losses, and how did you manage to lead the team in these circumstances?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Yeah, obviously, COVID is the topic that is on everybody's mind. And obviously, it did have an impact on our business as well. I think COVID impacted any kind of industry, any kind of business, sometimes good, sometimes bad. As I pointed out before, we are in the lucky configuration that we serve 3 different customer groups. You rightfully pointed out, yes, we are suffering on the hospitality sector. I mean, everybody is aware. All restaurants, a lot of hotels, all these places are closed, which obviously has an impact on the buying behavior. People are scared to go out. So we see, obviously, an impact on that side of the business. But luckily, we also have the other part of the business where we also can cater to the SCO customers. We can also cater to our people who joined the Metro Friends Club, which is basically open to everybody. And I think one positive aspect in these times now, where everybody is very scared about measures and safety, that since our stores are pretty big stores, so that like really we can keep up with all the hygienic standards and the measures, and it's actually a really safe place for shopping. And then also during the weekends, where, for example, now shopping malls have to close, we are open every day from 6 to 21. And I think a lot of people have rediscovered that also Metro has a great assortment, everything under one roof. You come in, it's a quick shopping. We have a very, very high focus on quality. And I think people do respect this. So I think we also see opportunities coming out of these really difficult times.
Right. And let me ask you another thing. You have vast experience with local producers and suppliers. Can you tell us something about your experiences with them, and actually if you have some specific advice to local suppliers and producers, since there are a lot of them listening and watching the summit today?
Yes, very good question. As I pointed out before, in our assortment here in Serbia, we have around 25,000 articles. Obviously, a lot of them are international articles, some of them that are sourced commonly together with the Metro group. But what is very, very specific for Metro as well, in every country where we do business, we put a very, very high focus on localism, on local producers, zero-kilometer approach to really see, especially when it comes to ultra-fresh products, that they are sourced locally, also to respond much better to the tastes and to the preferences of consumers. And I think nowadays it becomes more and more important for people to see the traceability of products, to know where the products are coming from, and you just feel safer, you feel more secure if you know that your products are coming from a producer which is a local producer. What we also do there is we have a very, very tight cooperation with a lot of local producers, and what we do as well is to help them to bring up and to raise their quality standards, because quality is very, very core in our business, and quality is non-negotiable for us. We fulfill a lot of very, very strict and tough quality audits and other certifications that we have to comply with, and this is something that we would also then expect our suppliers to supply with. We know that it's not so easy for some of them, but this is why we as an organization also try to support them, to bring them up to speed, to increase their level of awareness, and also to increase their level of expertise and knowledge in order to comply with these very, very strict standards.
Very nice message. Thank you very much for being here with us today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.